The King of Fighters, SNK's biggest franchise, known for not only its great gameplay, but amazing and intricate lore. In this video, I'm going to take you through the entire story and lore of the King of Fighters franchise, from the very first game in 1994 up to the King of Fighters 15. Gathering this information, verifying it, and making it accessible took me months to compile. With that said, I would be very grateful if you show your support by leaving a like on this video. Doing so not only helps this video reach more viewers, but also helps the channel entirely. Now without further ado, sit back and enjoy the ultimate, complete story and lore of the King of Fighters. The beginning of the story of the King of Fighters did not start with the first game set in 1994. The story of the franchise begins 1800 years into the past. A deity known as Orochi sees itself as the spirit of the earth and could no longer tolerate human civilization's expansion at the expense of nature. So it decides to destroy the human race once and for all. The demon, sometimes seen as an 8-headed snake, gathered a large following in the form of a clan. The 8 strongest warriors of this clan are known as the Hakkeshu. Orochi decided to use the powers of nature to wipe humanity from existence. The Hakkeshu and the human race waged countless wars until the leaders of 3 Japanese clans, the Kusanagi, Yasakani, and the Yatta, defeated the demon with 3 mystical treasures: the Kusanagi sword, the Yasakani jewel, and the Yatta mirror. The Orochi was defeated but not vanquished, as the spirit of the earth, the demon, could never be fully killed. So the 3 clans decided to use their 3 mystical treasures to seal Orochi in a suspended state. The second major event in the King of Fighters story takes us to 660 years before the events of the King of Fighters 94. Centuries after being defeated and sealed, the seal of Orochi has started weakening. The then leaders of the 3 sacred clans, the Kusanagi, Yasakani, and Yatta, decided to move the seal to a hidden location. Wanting to disrupt their unity, one of the Hakkeshu killed the Yasakani leader's wife and blamed it on the Kusanagi clan. Angered by his loss, Yasakani made a blood pact with Orochi to gain the necessary power for revenge. The Yasakani would then change their family name to Yagami, and as a side effect to the Orochi blood now flowing in their veins, the once crimson flames of the Yasakani changed to a purple one. Fast forward to 1994. Fighters around the world received a mysterious invitation, calling them to form a team of 3 members and enter the new King of Fighters tournament. While the tournament itself is not new, as it was already been held in previous occasions, this will mark the first iteration to feature a team format. The invitations were received by many great warriors like the Bogard brothers, the Kyokugen master and disciples, mercenaries, sportsmen, and even pop idols. One of the teams invited consists of a newly formed friendship of 3 fighters: Kyo Kusanagi, descendant of the Kusanagi clan, as well as 2 other members which he recently met and fought in a Japanese martial arts tournament, the eccentric Benimaru Nikaido and the judo master Goro Daimon. The 3 formed the Japan team and would go on to reach the finals of the new KOF tournament. The 3 fighters were invited by the mysterious organizer's secretary to join him on board of his massive ship, the Black Noah. When arrived, Kyo was surprised to find his father, Saisyu Kusanagi, the current head of the Kusanagi clan and family, badly injured and defeated. Turns out, Saisyu felt something odd about the tournament organizer and decided to take on the mysterious character known as Rugal Bernstein. Rugal revealed himself to the Japan team and explained his true goal behind organizing the tournament: to capture the best fighters and turn them into bronze statues to add them to his collection. After a difficult fight, Kyo and his teammates defeated Rugal. And willing to accept defeat, the madman attempted to blow up his ship along with the hero team. While the Japan team escaped, Rugal was presumed dead, and so was Kyo's father. A year will go by, and as Kyo returns from a training journey, he receives, along with Benimaru and Goro, a new invitation from Mater, Rugal's secretary, after first attacking and testing their skills. The letter had the same mysterious R seal on it. Kyo, Benimaru and Goro wondered whether this means that Rugal is still alive. All the teams from the previous tournament received their invitations for the new King of Fighters 95, including the American sports team, but not for long, as they were attacked by 3 other fighters who would defeat them and steal their KOF invitation. The attackers were Billy Khan, Eiji Kisaragi, and Iori Yagami, the current heir to the Yagami clan, formerly known as the Yasakani. Iori wanted a chance to enter the tournament and kill Kyo Kusanagi, as the two families have been at each other's throats since the Orochi incident 660 years ago. The King of Fighters 95 has started, and once again, the Japan team would reach the finals after defeating Yagami's rival team. As Kyo, Benimaru and Goro were waiting to be crowned as the victors, a mysterious gas filled their chamber, and they all fell unconscious. Once awake, the hero team were surprised to see none other than Rugal Bernstein alive and well, revealing that he has been pulling the strings throughout the entire tournament with the help of his new secretary Vice. Kyo, enraged, vows to defeat Rugal once and for all, but before he could attack, an unexpected fighter comes to Rugal's help. It was Kyo's father, Saisyu Kusanagi, who was presumed dead after the events of the King of Fighters 94. It was revealed that Vice had brainwashed the Kusanagi leader and is now up to Kyo to stop his own father. Thanks to Kyo's strength, Saisyu was defeated and was free of Rugal and Vice brainwashing. It was time for the final battle of the King of Fighters 95, as Kyo, Benimaru, and Goro took on a more powerful Rugal, with the latter tapping into the Orochi power given to him years ago. The battle was fierce, but Kyo Kusanagi was able to, once again, defeat the villain. Trying to tap into more of the Orochi power, Rugal's body could not handle the immense energy, causing his body to disintegrate. Few months later, Kyo Kusanagi, who now sees himself as an invincible fighter, would be approached by a mysterious figure who would challenge the Kusanagi heir to a fight. This man was so powerful that the hero team leader would not land a single blow against him. Badly injured, Kyo would then be rushed to the hospital. Feeling humiliated, Kyo Kusanagi decides to take his training more seriously, vowing to extract his revenge on this mysterious foe. Few more months after this incident, the King of Fighters 96 was announced, but this time with a twist. The event has now exploded in popularity, and this new tournament would be hosted on an international level. Kyo and his friends would form the hero team once again, and many teams from previous tournaments are making a comeback. Some in a similar fashion like the fellow Fury or Kim's team, while others with unexpected changes like the Ikari team, with their leader Hydern leaving his place for his adopted daughter Leona. The biggest surprise of the participating teams, however, was without a doubt the Yagami team, consisting of Iori Yagami and Rugal's previous secretaries Vice and Mature. These two mysterious women tracked the Iori prior to the tournament and persuaded the Yagami heir to join their team, as they will help him get the fight against Kyo that he always wanted. Once again, the tournament ran its course with the teams fighting spectacular battles. The hero team made of Kyo, Benimaru and Goro would reach the finals once again, and are now greeted by a mysterious woman, Shizuru Kagura, who revealed herself as the organizer of this year's tournament as well as the guardian of the seal. After a brief fight, testing the skills of the hero team, Kagura revealed that her true goal was to lure out the Kusanagi and Yagami heirs to unite and fight the real threat, the awakening of Orochi. But before she could explain any further, the man who previously defeated Kyo and sent him to the hospital made his entrance and destroys the stadium where the finals were held. He also happened to be the same man who killed Shizuru's twin sister Maki, years ago. His name is Genitz, and he reveals himself as the leader of the Hakkeshu, the powerful warriors of the Orochi clan. He also reveals that Mature and Vice were working under him all this time and were keeping an eye on Iori Yagami since he is a descendant of the Yasakani and thus the Orochi blood runs in his veins. Seeing an opportunity to finally end all the three heirs of the clans that defeated his demon master 1800 years ago, Genitz attacks the trio, but is ultimately defeated by Kyo with the help of Iori and Shizuru. Humiliated, Genitz took his own life. Understanding what lies ahead, Shizuru asks Kyo and Iori to put their differences aside and join her as their ancestors once did and be ready to fight and prevent the resurrection of Orochi. However, both Kyo and Iori rejected the idea of working together and went their separate ways. Shortly after that, Iori loses himself to the mysterious rage and seemingly kills both Vice and Mature. The stadium destruction incident was officially reported as a terrorist attack. Despite all that, the King of Fighters 96 tournament was deemed a massive media and commercial success, and big corporations were now racing to sponsor the next iteration of the now famous KOF tournament, which led to the eventual announcement of the King of Fighters 97. As expected, many teams from the previous tournaments made their return. While some are joining for glory or fame, others are hoping for answers, such as the Ikari Warriors, as Leona Hydern has been suffering from unexplained headaches and hallucinations. Along with the returning teams, new ones were also making their debut, like the new women fighters team with now Shizuru Kagura joining Mayan King, as she felt that the awakening of Orochi is at hand and hopes to convince Kyo and Iori to join her in her battle to save the world. Another new team that joined the event for the first time is one made of newcomers Yashiro Nanakaze, Chris, and Shermie. This new team was not originally invited to the King of Fighters 97. The trio, known as CYS, are a popular music band. While they were getting ready to perform in a show, the club owner cancelled their appearance at the last minute in favor of booking another music show featuring Iori Yagami. Furious at the man with the red hair, as Yashiro calls him, they decided to steal an invitation from the American sports team and entered the tournament in order to have their revenge. Speaking of Iori, the Yagami heir has also been suffering from headaches and hallucinations similar to Leona. He was also being hunted by Vice and Mature, whom he previously slayed at the end of the previous tournament, mocking him for being unable to have his revenge on Kyo. All these events made Iori decide to enter the tournament as a single-entry contestant. And on the subject of single-entry contestants, another unknown would-be fighter decides to join the foray. Having watched the King of Fighters 96 on television and realizing that his schoolmate Kyo Kusanagi is a famed fighter and champion, the young Shingo Yabuki decides to become a pupil of Kusanagi despite the latter refusing. Having learned Kyo's moves by watching him every day, Shingo also enters the King of Fighters 97. The King of Fighters 97 has started, and again, countless exciting battles took place, with many of them receiving worldwide media coverage. During the tournament, however, the unexpected has happened. The new Faces team made of Yashiro, Chris, and Shermie suddenly remembered their true nature. They are part of the Hakkeshu, specifically the four Heavenly Kings along with the now deceased Genitz. Once their past memories regained, they used the tournament to draw enough power from all the fighters in order to finally awaken the long-dormant Orochi. Around the same time, Kyo finally confronts Iori in what would seem to be the fight of their lives. But all of a sudden, Iori entered his rage state, known as the Riot of the Blood. Similarly, Leona also finds herself in the same uncontrolled rage. As it turns out, she also has the blood of Orochi, as her true father, Gaidel, was a reformed Hakkeshu. As for Iori, having awakened from the Riot of the Blood, decides to accept Shizuru's call to team up with her and Kyo, and form the Sacred Treasures team to stop Yashiro, Chris and Shermie from reviving Orochi. The Sacred Treasures team took on the three Heavenly Kings, Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris, who revealed their plan to sacrifice Kyo's girlfriend Yuki in order to revive the dormant deity. An intense fight between the two teams took place. The power generated by the unprecedented battle helped Orochi awaken from his slumber, but it was not enough for the demon to have a physical form. Seeing that there is no other choice, Yashiro and Shermie sacrificed themselves in order to transfer their energy to Chris, who would be used as the vessel of Orochi's return. The demon that terrorized the world 1800 years ago is now back, but history repeats itself, and the battle, unlike anything seen before, took place as the three descendants of the Kusanagi, Yasakani, and Yatta join forces and defeat the demon just as their ancestors once did. Orochi, sensing his defeat, awakens the Riot of the Blood in Iori, hoping that he will turn on Kyo and Chizuru. But instead, Iori Yagami was able to control his rage and directs it towards Orochi. As Yagami jumps on the demon and grabs him by the neck, Kyo suddenly gets a vision as he hears the voices of many of the Yasakani clan members explaining the history behind the Yagami and the connection to Orochi. Kyo then uses the opportunity created by Iori and gives Orochi a final death blow, as Chizuru uses her Yatta powers to reseal Orochi. An explosion took place as the three warriors lose consciousness. Orochi is finally defeated, but upon waking up, Chizuru finds Iori, yet there was no sign of Kyo. The King of Fighters 97 final battle was an event that which the world has never seen the likes before, as Kyo Kusanagi, Iori Yagami, and Chizuru Kagura, heirs to the ancient three Japanese clans, fought and defeated Orochi. But unknown to everyone, this massive battle was being observed by a shadowy organization, the cartel known as NESTS. After the battle with Orochi, the three heroes lost consciousness. A NESTS team used the opportunity to kidnap Kyo for unknown reasons. Upon waking up, both Iori and Chizuru were surprised to not find Kyo nearby. Days, weeks, and months would go by, and the world has no idea where Kyo Kusanagi is. The massive King of Fighters 97 battle and fallout was thought to be enough to have the competition cancelled, but the world was surprised to see new invitations sent to fighters around the world, calling them to a new tournament, the King of Fighters 99. This new tournament would change the competition's format. Each team will now consist of 4 fighters instead of 3. While the battles themselves are still 3 versus 3, the 4th character is dubbed as Striker and can be summoned at any time during the match to help in the fight, but in a limited number of times. Benimaru Nikaido, Kyo Kusanagi's closest friend, received an invitation to be part of a special team made of him, as well as the self-declared Kyo Kusanagi pupil Shingo Yabuki. The 2 other fighters were new to the scene, K-Dash and Maxima. Both Benimaru and Shingo were confused about the identity of these 2 new fighters, as they have never heard their names and are unknown in the world of martial arts. Hydern, the leader of the Ikari warriors, has also received an invitation, but decides to not participate. Instead, he orders his mercenaries, Leona, Ruff, and Clark, to join the competition to investigate this year's event. As for the fourth member, Hydern recruits a new mercenary to the squad, the young military member Sally, who goes by the name Whip, as she is an expert in using and controlling a whip as a weapon. Many fighters join the competition to prove their strength, including the Fatal Fury team, the Art of Fighting team, and the Korea team. Other teams are coming to hopefully find answers, like the Psycho Soldiers team, where its longtime member C. Kensu mysteriously lost his powers, only for them to reappear in another person, the young child known as Bao, who also joins the team for this iteration of the King of Fighters. As for Iori, Kyo's disappearance haunted him, and he decided to do his own investigation, which made him aware of the NESTS cartel as he saved Kyo's girlfriend Yuki from being abducted by the evil organization. Iori would spend months hunting down NESTS bases looking for his archenemy Kyo. The King of Fighters tournament has begun. Fighters from around the world were taking on each other in the new 4-team format. Hydern, who was monitoring the suspicious tournament, confirmed from the satellite a mysterious image of many individuals looking very similar to Kyo Kusanagi, all exiting suspicious crafts all over the world. The King of Fighters 99 ran its course, and the new hero team made of Benimaru, Shingo, K-Dash, and Maxima has won the event. The winning team was then transported to an underground facility to meet the organizer of this year's event. He reveals himself as Chrysalid, and he surprisingly looked like K-Dash. To Benimaru and Shingo's surprise, Chrysalid thanks K-Dash and Maxima for their hard work, revealing they were agents of NESTS all along. The goal of this tournament was to gather fighters' data and use them to activate a number of clones that were created from Kyo's DNA, after NESTS kidnapped him following the Battle of Orochi. Chrysalid also reveals that K-Dash is another clone made from Chrysalid's own DNA, created using the same technology as the Kyo clones. A reveal that shocked K-Dash to his core. To finalize the mission, Chrysalid orders K-Dash and Maxima to collect what he calls the trigger data. A data that would grant the clones the ability to kill people, the killer instinct. K-Dash and Maxima stood still. Unknown to all of them, Kyo Kusanagi has recently woke up in one of the NESTS lab in the same underground facility. Looking for answers, an exhausted Kyo started making his way towards the area where a massive battle is about to begin. K-Dash and Maxima, furious at the revelation of how controlled and manipulated their lives were, decide to ignore Chrysalid's order and join Benimaru and Shingo in an attempt to stop the clone's activation. After a grand battle, K-Dash defeats Chrysalid. Upon his defeat, a mysterious voice tells Chrysalid that he had failed and is no longer needed. NESTS then remotely destroys the base after retrieving the battle data, severely wounding Chrysalid in the process. As the base starts collapsing, Kyo Kusanagi made his way to the battleground and for a few seconds is reunited with Benimaru and Shingo. Kyo and K-Dash exchange stares. Both fighters knew they are connected to each other, as Kyo's DNA was infused with K-Dash's one to create the ultimate NESTS fighter. Benimaru and Shingo safely made it outside the base, but Kyo was nowhere to be seen, as the hero decides to go his separate way to find who is behind the NESTS cartel and destroy them. The evil organization tried to dispose of K-Dash and Maxima but were unsuccessful. The ex-NESTS fighters then decide it is time to take control of their lives, to rebel and destroy the cartel themselves. Making their way through the debris, the Ikari warriors were looking for survivors inside the destroyed NESTS base. Whip will then find her way into the area where the last battle took place and found Chrysalid badly injured. He calls Whip his sister and asks her why she left the cartel years ago. Whip asked him whether he can recall his father's face, to which Chrysalid says he cannot. Whip tells Chrysalid that he was K-Dash's clone and not the opposite, and that she is not his sister. Moments later, Chrysalid presumably dies. Months would go by, and the NESTS organization remained silent and in the shadows. Hyder, trying to figure out the cartel's next move, was instructed by his friend and commander Link to bring down K- and Maxima, as the two have been responsible for what was believed to be terrorist attacks. The truth was that these attacks were solely on secret NEST bases, as the two warriors are on a mission to bring the organization down. A new KOF was announced. Link wanted to learn more about K- and Maxima, so he instructed two of his secret agents, Vanessa and Seth, to form two teams and enter the tournament. First, Vanessa would approach the famous lucha libre, Ramon, to join her and team up with the two fugitives, K- and Maxima. As for Seth, his mission was to investigate the secretive Hizoku clan and its mysterious missing leader Ron. Seth finds Lin, another member of the Hizoku, who also searches for his missing leader. The two, along with his old friend Benimaru and Shingo, form the new Benimaru team. As usual, many teams return and the King of Fighters 2000 has started, with the new K- team making it to the finals. But before they could find the truth about this year's event, K- was attacked by a mysterious young warrior, Kula Diamond. Kula was a product of NEST, and her codename was Anti-K-. She was built as the opposite of K- and can control ice. To prevent a similar scenario like K-'s betrayal, Kula was always accompanied and monitored by an android, Candy, as well as two of NEST's top agents, Foxy and Diana. Despite her strength, Kula could not defeat K- and was forced to retreat. Around the same time, Link and his associates betray Hyder and revealed his true intention of powering up the space station weapon known as the Zero Cannon. Link then orders to have the King of Fighters victors, the hero team, brought to him. It turned out that the real Link was murdered a while ago and was replaced by the supposed NEST high-ranking officer Zero. However, Zero's real plan was to destroy NEST using his space-based weapon and create a new world order where he is the only ruler. In order to power up the dangerous weapon, Zero used KOF to harness the energy of the fighters through the NEST generators, which allowed him to operate the Zero Cannon for the first time, and in an instant wipes out an entire city off the map. Zero's next step is to power the generator once more, using the energy from his next battle against the hero team, then use it to destroy NEST and the world with it. The final battle between Zero and the new hero team has begun. K- and his teammates were able to subdue Zero, but before they could end the match, Zero attempts to use the cannon once more, yet the weapon malfunctioned, as it turned out that NEST agents Foxy and Diana have changed the control of the weapon and aimed it at Zero himself. Hyder, taking advantage of the moment, removes the weapon remote control from Zero's hand. Simultaneously, Kula, along with Candy, went to orbit and destroyed the space weapon. The explosion sent the young NEST operative falling through space, only to be protected by her android ally, Candy, calling Kula her friend. Candy's robot body does not survive the fall, but this act changes something in Kula forever. As the Zero Cannon debris fell down to Earth, Vanessa and Ramon safely make it out of the base, while Whip from the Ikari Warriors finds the dying Zero, who reveals to her that she is also a product of NESTS, a clone herself. Furious at the reveal, Whip shoots Zero, ending the life of the double-agent NEST operative. As for K-, the ex-NEST fighter had a vision, a lost memory taken from him years ago, of a little girl whom he called his sister. After snapping out of the daydream, K- and Maxima find themselves in front of Whip. K- realizes that she looks exactly like the grown-up version of the little girl he saw in his vision. As the satellite debris kept falling, K-, Maxima, and Whip decide to join forces and take down NEST together. Both K and Whip knowing deep down that they are related. Almost a year would go by. The incident, which saw an entire city wiped off the globe with the use of the Zero cannon, was reported to be the result of an artificial satellite crashing down to Earth. While many people were hoping for the tournament cancellation, somehow the event exponentially grew in popularity again, which led to the King of Fighters 2001 to be announced. And with that came the unexpected announcement that an official team from NESTS is entering the tournament, marking the first time the shadowy organization is officially stepping into the light. The tournament kept the 4-members team setting, but this time each team can decide how many fighters and how many strikers it can have per match. The trio of K-, Maxima and Whip will enter the latest tournament along with Lin. As for the NESTS team, it was made of the cartel's latest creations, K49 and Angel, as well as Foxy and Kula, the 2 agents responsible for destroying the Zero cannon in the previous year. NEST's goal behind the new tournament is to gather all their enemies in one place and finally destroy them once and for all. K49 was the 9999th clone of Kyo and was made to be the perfect weapon for the organization. Yet he was emotionally unstable and quickly to lose his temper. He also does not trust Foxy and Kula and prefers to work only with Angel, with whom he gets along. Kula, on the other hand, has been questioning her existence ever since the incident that caused Candy's destruction. She also feels some sort of bond to K- that she cannot explain, even though she knew she was born to destroy him. Another surprise return to the tournament is Kyo Kusanagi. The hero has been on a mission since he escaped from NEST's grasp to destroy the organization. He teams up with Benimaru, Goro Daimon, and Shingo to form the Japan team once again. As for Iori, he was approached by Seth to join his team with Vanessa and Ramon. While he first refused, he quickly changed his mind and accepted once he heard that Kyo is going to be at the event. The tournament began. Fighters old and new duked it out on the international level. Many matches brought unforgettable moments. The new hero team of K-, Maxima, Whip and Lin won the competition and were invited on board of a blimp as part of the ceremony. However, the blimp was in fact a spaceship in disguise that started ascending to space, taking the winners to the real base of the NESTS cartel. Inside the spaceship, a similar yet different figure made its entrance. It's Zero, the real Zero, revealing the NESTS double agents that was defeated in the previous tournament was a mere clone. The new Zero challenges the winning team to a match. He was accompanied by his genetically engineered black pet lion Glugan, Chrysalid, who was presumed dead at the end of the King of Fighters 99, and Ron, the Hisoku leader that Lin has been searching for. The hero team managed to defeat Zero and his teammates moments before the ship docked at the NESTS base in orbit. Zero urges the hero team to go forward before his ship gets destroyed, killing Zero, Chrysalid, Glugan, and apparently Ron. At the same time, and with no reason, Foxy and Kula were attacked from behind by K49 and Angel, in tandem with another massive reveal that is about to take place. Back in the NESTS main base, K- and his teammates are now face to face with the leader of the cartel, the man named NESTS. But not for long, as it turns out NESTS was murdered a long time ago by his son Ignis without the cartel knowing. Ignis was using a virtual image pretending that his father is still the one calling the shots. Proclaiming himself a god, Ignis shocked the winning team by revealing that he was the one behind their creation and memory manipulation. Before he challenges them to their final fight, Ignis decided to restore their memories as he wanted to find them at full power. A fierce battle took place, unlike anything K- and his teammates have ever seen. But with the combined might of the heroes, Ignis was defeated. Unable to accept his loss, he declares himself a devil and one that will destroy as many lives as possible. Ignis launches the space station hurling towards Earth. Kula, seeing the base falling, rushes down towards the descent zone. Luckily, and presumably thanks to Ron who was still alive, the station was diverted towards the water. The heroes survived the fall. Kula, who jumped underwater, was saved by K-. A new bond was formed between these two ex-NEST agents. Standing ashore, looking at the impact zone, K-, Maxima, and Whip decide to join forces with the now reformed Kula and Foxy, and a new saga for these warriors is about to begin, as NEST is finally destroyed. As for K49 and Angel, they decided to leave their NEST lives behind and would not be heard from for a very long time. Somewhere, not far from the tournament venue, Kyo and Iori are finally about to have the battle they both longed for. But who would win? The answer to that question still goes unanswered. Orochi, Gaia's will, terrorized the East for a long time, until his plans were stopped by the three sacred treasures 1800 years ago. However, the being known as Orochi is only one of many deities that are regarded as the world's wills. In fact, some ancient scrolls even talk about as many as 10 wills or gods, each with a different power and each with dedicated followers. One of these beings was terrorizing Europe 1600 years before the events of the first King of Fighters game. Those who follow this deity are known as those from the distant land. The deity and leader of this clan is called Psyche, and he can control the flow of time. Unlike Orochi, who tolerated human existence, Psyche has no need nor patience for humans and wants them exterminated. Yet this cult's destructive plan was challenged by a French noble family, the Blantorche, who made it their mission to protect the innocent and destroy those from the distant land. But as the war waged between the noble family and the evil clan, all of a sudden, those from the distant land, along with their leader Psyche, mysteriously vanished without a trace. The Blantorche continued to fight those who still follow the path of Psyche for generations and centuries to come. Back to the present, it now has been 2 years since NEST's destruction, and the new King of Fighters tournament has been announced. As usual, many fighters and teams would receive an invitation. The organizer of the new King of Fighters 2003 event is yet again shrouded in mystery. One of the fighters who received an invitation is a young, eccentric-looking young man with silver hair and green fire powers known as Ash Crimson. Ash would meet with two other fighters, Shenwu and Duolon, and ask them to join his team and enter the King of Fighters 2003. Shenwu was a famous street boxer from Shanghai who was nicknamed as the God of War within the Triads for his sheer strength. He always wanted to participate in the famed King of Fighters tournament and accepts the offer. Duolon, on the other hand, is a Hizoku clan member and also happens to be the son of the clan's missing leader, Ron. Duolon is hoping to find clues about his missing father, who made an appearance in the previous tournament. Chizuru Kagura, the guardian of the Orochi seal, has been getting visions of her deceased sister Maki. Feeling something is not right, Chizuru requests both Kyo and Iori to form the Sacred Treasures team and once again enter the new tournament. While both of them initially refused, they end up agreeing and enter the contest despite their rivalry. The Ikari warriors have also been invited, and while they do enter the contest, the trio, along with Hydern, have been busy tracking a mysterious airship that has been crossing world borders unnoticed. The King of Fighters 2003 tournament has started, with both old and new fighters fighting to their heart's content. This year's tournament is no longer allowing the 4-team system, instead each team is now again made of 3 members, but a new mechanic called the Quick Shift has been introduced. This new rule allows characters to tag in and out at any time during the battle, switching fighters within the same round. The new team made of Ash, Duolon, and Shenwu made it to the finals. And to their surprise, the organizer behind this new tournament is none other than Chizuru Kagura, who was acting unlike herself. Chizuru uses her powers to transport the team to where the Orochi seal is located. She then uses the power of the Yata mirror to create a living illusion of her deceased sister Maki. Not too far from the tournament venue, the Ikari warriors infiltrated the mysterious flying ship. Once inside, they meet Rose and Adelheid, who reveal themselves to be the children of Rugal Bernstein. The reason behind them flying over the tournament venue using their sky fortress called the Sky Noah remained unclear. Adelheid, the eldest of the siblings, takes on the Ikari warriors but loses. And unlike his father, Adelheid showed honor and humility, accepting his defeat, and will prove in the future to be an important ally to Hydern and the heroes. As for Chizuru and the newly created Maki, the two sisters were defeated by Ash and his team. Then, suddenly, Chizuru loses consciousness and Maki disappears. A massive figure emerges, Mukai, along with another character, Botan, who seemed to have been controlling Chizuru like a puppet all along. Mukai reveals that he is a member of those from the distant land, and their motive is to break the seal of Orochi and awaken the evil deity to feed the demon's energy to their master. Ash and his team take on Mukai and were able to get the upper hand in the battle. Yet Mukai seemed unscathed, laughing in the face of Ash and his team and promising them that this is only the beginning. Mukai retreats along with Botan. The hero team are then transported away from the seal. Shenwu, not caring about the whole ordeal, decides to part way and hoping to team up again in the future. Duolon senses the presence of Ron nearby and leaves abruptly, which leaves Ash Crimson, who decides to go back to the Orochi seal to achieve his mysterious plan. At the Orochi seal, Kyo and Iori were checking on the wounded Chizuru. Then all of a sudden, Chizuru Kagura is attacked from behind. It was Ash Crimson, revealing that his plan all along was to steal these sacred treasures for unknown reasons, and he starts with Chizuru as he extracts the essence of the Yata mirror from the wounded guardian. Before Kyo and Iori could get to him, Ash disappears in the shadows, leaving a number of unanswered questions. Now that Chizuru has lost her powers, the Orochi seal is once again broken. Months would go by, and as the seasons change, a new King of Fighters tournament is announced. One of the new participants this year is Elizabeth Plantorsch, the last descendant of the Plantorsch noble family, which have been protecting Europe from those of the distant land for centuries. The reason for her involvement is that she heard about Ash Crimson's latest troubles and wants to know the reason behind his actions. It turns out that Ash and Elizabeth grew up together in her family's mansion. She took Ash in when they were both young and considered him her younger brother and part of the family. As he grew up, Ash has also been taught the family ways and lifelong mission of fighting those from the distant land. Yet it all changed when an accidental fire burned down the family mansion, killing most of the modern-day Plantorsch family members, leaving only Elizabeth with her adopted brother Ash alive. But suddenly, few months ago, Ash disappeared without leaving a trace and would only surface at the previous The King of Fighters 2003 tournament. Elizabeth joins Benimaru Nikaido and Duolon, who also want to know more about Ash and his hidden agenda. And speaking of Ash, the mysterious fighter teams up with the Shanghai powerful street fighter Shenwu once more, as well as the enigmatic Oswald. This middle-aged slender poker-playing fighter is betting all his odds to find a mysterious drug, known as the Dragon Pills, which could save his life from an incurable disease. Knowing that those from the distant land are probably involved in this year's tournament and still not understanding their final game, a broken Chizuru Kagura is unable to enter this new King of Fighters tournament. She requests Shingo to ask Kyo and Iori to team up again in order to find the truth. The two arch-nemesis agree and also accept to add Shingo to their team after the latter begged them to join. The King of Fighters 11 is about to start. New fighters join the foray and new teams are formed, like the new Southtown team of Terry Bogard, Kim Cap 1 and Duck King, or the Anti-Kyokugen Karate. After a few fights, and as the new hero team of Ash, Shen, and Oswald were advancing in the tournament, the event venue was destroyed and the Ash team found themselves in front of a new threat, Xion. Armed with a spear, the mystery fighter appears to be a member of those from the distant land. It was revealed that he follows the orders of another member named Magaki. The hero team took on Xion and was able to defeat him. Kneeling defeated, Xion is surprised that after this long battle, Orochi has yet to awake. Then, before finishing his sentence, suddenly a rift opens behind him, like a door breaking time and space, as a hand grabs Xion, sucking him into the void. It was Magaki, who was unhappy with Xion's performance. Stepping out of the dimensional rift, Magaki reveals that he will sacrifice the hero team in order to awaken Orochi, whose energy will then be fed to their own master. Magaki turns into his real form, and a difficult battle begins. While it seems that Magaki is undefeatable, the combined might of Ash, Shen, and Oswald was enough to win the fight. Magaki, still standing on his feet, is surprised that Orochi has yet to awake. Realizing that their fight energy is not enough and that something else is missing to fully awaken the deity, Magaki opens the dimensional rift once again, but right before he steps in, a spear, Xion's spear, flies from the rift and goes through Magaki, killing him in the process. It seemed Xion has betrayed his master. Ash Crimson's real mission is about to begin, but first he reveals to Oswald that the crime lord who owns the medicine, the dragon pills, will only give it away if his number one enemy is defeated. And it so happens that his enemy is none other than Shen Wu. Having played both his teammates, Ash leaves both Shen and Oswald as they fight each other to the death. Not far from the destroyed venue, the energy released by the broken Orochi seals awakens the riot of the blood within Iori. Suddenly, the Asakani hair attacks both Shingo and Kyo unexpectedly. Ash Crimson uses the opportunity and sneaks behind Iori, attacking him and stealing the second sacred treasure, the Asakani jewel, from within Iori. As Ash absorbs the Asakani powers, Elizabeth, along with Benimaru and Duo Lon, arrive at the scene but were unable to see what is happening due to the dust from the battle. The Plantor's last descendant asks Ash for answers. Showing his Yagami powers to them, Ash asks Elizabeth to stop schooling him as he is no longer the person she once knew. Ash then promises that Kyokusanagi is his next target and uses the Yata Mirror's power to teleport away from the area. Tournament-wise, the Benimaru team was declared the winners of the King of Fighters 11 as they were supposed to fight Ash's team, which disbanded before the official fight. Those from the distant land are expected to make their next move soon, and what better opportunity than the announcement of a new King of Fighters tournament, one unlike any other previous event in terms of scale. Fighters and teams around the world received their invitation signed with an R seal. The organizer of this last event is Rose Bernstein, daughter of Rugal Bernstein and sister to Adelheid. Rose, acting unlike herself, made the preparations without even consulting her brother, which the latter found suspicious. Kyokusanagi, feeling humiliated from his defeat against Iori, traveled the world to get ready for his next fight. During his travels, he was ambushed by two members of those from the distant land, Shroom and Rimelo, who tested his skills before handing him an invitation for the new event. Kyo would then team up with his old teammates, Benimaru and Goro Daimon, and form the Japan team once again. Iori Yagami, now without his Yasakani powers, is visited by two fighters whom he previously killed, Vice and Mature. The two Hakeshu are somehow looking alive and are interested in stopping those from the distant land from siphoning the Orochi power to their master. So they ask Iori to join them for this new King of Fighters in order to help each other, as Iori is betting on finding Ash within the King of Fighters tournament and killing him. As for Elizabeth, She teams up with Ash's previous teammates, Duo Lon and Shen Wu. Both feeling tricked and used by Ash, want to find him and know the reason for his betrayal. Rose's odd behavior prompted Adelheid to contact Hydron and explain the situation. The Ikari leader then tasks his mercenaries, Raph, Clark, and Leona, to investigate this new event, while he orders his fleet to be ready and in striking position from the tournament stadium. Ash, on the other hand, has been working on his own agenda, joining those from the distant land to help them achieve their goal. Their leader Psyche and his followers are actually visitors from the ancient times. When they were pressured by the Blantorch family hundreds of years ago, Psyche used his powers to escape from that era and into the current one. His plan is to get the Orochi power, then go back and wipe the Blantorch and humanity with it. In order to do that, Psyche had one of his followers, Botan, take control of Rose and have her organize the tournament. The King of Fighters 13 began with the fighters battling it out in a worldwide event with unprecedented scale. Simultaneously, Hydron's special unit of Seth, Vanessa, Blue Mary, and Ramon were investigating the stadium and found an odd device underneath the structure. As it turns out, this device was placed by those from the distant land to gather the energy from the fighters to awake the still dormant Orochi. As the excitement of the tournament reached its climax and Elizabeth's team reached the finals, Psyche used his power and stopped time. All the remaining members from those from the distant land appeared in the stadium, as well as a massive door emerged behind them. The door is Psyche's way of traveling between eras and uses both the siphoned energy as well as time spheres to operate. Mukai, feeling shame for his defeat in the King of Fighters 2003, asked Psyche to let him have his revenge. But Psyche, having no patience for failures, kills Mukai and absorbs his energy, showing his true form. As the heroes battle Psyche, the time door starts closing. The demon realizes that Shroom and Rimelo have betrayed him and have removed some of the time spheres needed to operate the door, as they realize that Psyche is planning to sacrifice their lives to achieve his goal. Ash uses the opportunity and strikes Psyche from behind, absorbing his essence. But Psyche's spirit was too strong and takes over Ash's body. A final fight between a Psyche-controlled Ash and the heroes, including Elizabeth, took place. While Psyche had the upper hand, Ash was able to take control of his body and stopped Psyche, who is revealed to be Ash's ancestor, from going through the door before it forever closes. With the time door now shut, Psyche no longer exists in the past, and since Ash is his descendant, he could not have existed either now that Psyche has been erased. Elizabeth stood still and in shock. Ash, her childhood friend and adoptive brother, reveals to her that this was his plan all along. It turns out Ash never abandoned the Blantorch mission, and this was his way of taking things in his own hands and defeating those from the distant land once and for all. Slowly, Ash started fading away as his existence is wiped out from reality and from everyone's memory. Both Iori and Kagura regained their powers back. Hydron and his fleet remember there was a space-time disturbance but have no recollection of neither Ash nor those from the distant land. Yet Elizabeth is the only one that feels something or someone is missing. Our world has never been what it seems to be. Our plane of existence is only one of many. Some call them worlds, others dimensions. These planes of existence that can occupy the same space-time are separate from each other, making it impossible for beings of one dimension to travel to the other. But while the exact nature of our reality is truly unknown, one thing is clear. There exists a powerful entity
that has been watching our world for eons, trying to find a way to breach the invisible barriers that separate the dimensions in order to reshape and restart our reality. While humans have kept busy with their day-to-day life, only recognizing what they can see with their own eyes, a select group of people have known about the true nature of our reality and have passed this knowledge from generation to generation. One of these secret groups resided in a village in the outskirts of Africa, where the inhabitants not only know about this mysterious being, but have worshipped it as the god of destruction and rebirth. Their prophecies, which have been passed from generation to the next, foretell a time when this powerful entity will breach to our universe in order to restart the world. This massive event is said to be precluded by many signs. One of them is the appearance of the amplified specters and the crucible of souls. The amplified specters, seen by many as ghosts, are visual manifestations of physical events that are happening in the different parallel universes. While these specters or illusions might seem erratic, there are a select few who have the power to control the specters. These few human beings, who can be seen as conduits between realms, are also sometimes referred to as the amplified specters. The beings are believed to be the crucible of souls that connects all universes and convergence of all possibilities in the multiverse. The amplified specters are not meant for our plane of existence, but it has been told that a massive disturbance in space-time can lead to the appearance of both the specters and their conduits. Events such as the sacrifice of Ash Crimson, which for a limited time broke the fabric of space-time. The knowledge of the Crucible of Souls and the amplified specters remained very controlled between one generation to the other. In recent times, only one person who dedicated her life to understanding this ultimate reality truly understood the importance and weight of the prophecies, and how the power of the amplified specters could even revive the dead. The hermit was known as Dolores. Unfortunately, due to a freak and unexplained accident, Dolores met her demise, buried under the sand in her own home. Rumors would continue to spread about individuals born with strange abilities or surrounded by unexplained events. One such person was born in a remote mountain village in China. While overjoyed with their newborn, the parents of the boy, named SHUNEI, would witness bizarre occurrences when SHUNEI would cry or have a tantrum. This would cause furniture to fall down on its own, walls to crack, and the earth would shake. Even animals would become distressed in SHUNEI's presence. What was initially happiness turned into worry and sadness, as the parents did not know what is truly happening to their child. The village kids around SHUNEI's age would fear the toddler and refuse to play with him. While feeling lost, the couple were visited by the man known as Tang Furu. Tang is a master of the deadly martial arts of Hakyuku Seiken, who previously trained many strong fighters like Terry and Andy Bogard, as well as their father before them and the crime lord of Southtown Geese Howard. Feeling the immense power that young SHUNEI had within him, Tang, who has heard stories about the boy, asked the parents to allow him to raise the child in order to help him control his powers. In order to not interfere with the long and hard training and what is needed to control this mysterious power, the couple agreed to Master Tang's request to not interfere with the child's upbringing and to hide their existence from him. Thus, SHUNEI would be told that he was abandoned and that his parents are unknown. Years would go by, during which Master Tang would add another student, Mei Tenkun, who also shows incredible power that requires him to sleep the majority of his days. Mei Tenkun and SHUNEI quickly became close friends and rivals. While SHUNEI seemed to respond well to Master Tang's teachings, he remained unable to control his powers, which surprisingly have a personality of their own. These powers of unknown origins will often call SHUNEI and whisper to him, asking him to lose control and destroy everything. In order to help him focus and control these destructive urges, Tang Furu gave SHUNEI bands to wrap around his arms and headphones to use for blocking out these ominous whispers. It had been now years since the last King of Fighters tournament, which, unknown to everyone, ended with Ash Crimson erasing himself from existence and from everyone's memory. But it seems that the tournament is too popular to not make a comeback. Soon enough, a self-proclaimed original King of Fighters champion, Antonov, decides to host a new edition of the King of Fighters. Antonov would use the resources of his company to make this new iteration very special. Invitations were then sent to fighters around the world to be part of the event's comeback. Many old and new warriors are set to show their skills on the world stage once again. Antonov would then sponsor his own official team. The Russian CEO first sought an underground fighting legend that had incredible electrifying powers. Known as Sylvie Pola Pola, the young girl was one of NEST's secret experiments that was free from the evil organization's control after it collapsed. The second fighter is a master of the Sichuan opera dancing, who then became a known street fighter in order to earn her living and that of her family, Mian. The third member was a mysterious hooded man who approached Antonov to be in his team. The mysterious figure is known as Kukri, and his past and motives were shrouded in mystery. One of the invited fighters for this new King of Fighters is none other than Tang Furu himself. Seeing that the tournament could be the perfect place to test his students' years of practice, the Hakyuku Seiken Master forms a team with SHUNEI and Mei Tenkun and officially enters the competition as Team China, hoping that having SHUNEI meet with other fighters who struggled to contain their hidden powers would help him control his. Among the fighters invited was of course the ex-King of Fighters champion Kyo Kusanagi. While initially uninterested in participating, Kyo's father Saishu informed his son that he has been having an ominous feeling that something or someone is trying to interfere with the Orochi seal once again, which led Saishu to ask Kyo to team up with his old friends and team members Benimaru Nikaido and Goro Daimon and enter the competition, anticipating that whoever is responsible for this negative energy would surely use the next KOF for their own plans. Saishu also informed Kyo that he had received a request from Master Tang Furu for Kyo to test SHUNEI's abilities himself. Thus Kyo, Benimaru, and Goro once again joined forces to enter the new King of Fighters tournament as Team Japan. On the other side of town, Iori Yagami, who now has recovered his missing powers after the King of Fighters 13, is visited by none other than the mysterious Hakeshu members, Vice and Mature. Having previously been killed by Iori himself, these two undead women came to inform Iori that a convergence of the dead drawn by life is at hand. Without explaining their cryptic warning, the two devilish women handed Iori an invitation to the new King of Fighters tournament. While most fighters formed their team and to enter the tournament for their personal reasons or seeking glory, Hydern, the leader of the mercenary group known as the Ikari Warriors, ordered his squad to enter the event in order to monitor the activity around the new tournament, as recent anomalies in space-time have been reported around the world, coupled with the rise in activity of remnant cells of the defunct NESTS organization. Hydern felt that the new King of Fighters could be the perfect opportunity of an evil entity to use for their devious goals, and thus Leona, Raph, and Clark embarked on a journey to participate in KOF once more. The space-time anomalies were not only detected by Hydern and his advanced military technology. The spirit of nature, the maiden known as Nakoruru, once sacrificed her own life to protect the world, felt the disturbance and the emergence of an evil entity whom she calls Weikamu could be at hand. Nakoruru defied space and time to keep a close look on the tournament. and thus the King of Fighters tournament took place. Warriors from all over the world faced each other as the world enjoyed the return of the global 3 vs 3 competition. The young SHUNEI and his team fought many battles, which made the young fighter understand his powers even more, and made him more confident that he indeed can eventually control them. His team would eventually lose to Kyo's Japan team before reaching the finals. Speaking of finals, it was Team Japan who reached the grand final to fight against Antonov for the belt and title of the new King of Fighters champions. But as usual, a massive event took place. The strange space-time anomalies witnessed by many have all converged and led to the appearance of a strange being in the sky. Causing the destruction of the tournament venue. This entity, muttering the words "verse," seemed to have a direct connection to SHUNEI's mysterious powers, as SHUNEI felt that he started losing control of his. All the fighters were stumped about the appearance of this mysterious being, with the exception of one fighter who seems to know exactly what is happening. Kukri, watching from the sides in anticipation of what verse houses within its fiery being. Nakoruru, the Nature Maiden, appeared before the heroes and explained the grave danger this entity poses, and that it needs to be stopped. SHUNEI, along with the other heroes, battled this mysterious being. Upon its defeat, the entity called Verse exploded, releasing waves of energy around the globe. It seemed that the mystery of Verse ended before fully thawing, making many fighters question what this appearance even mean. But those who know about this foretold event, like Kukri, knew that Verse was a space-time anomaly that somehow engulfed the souls of many deceased warriors. The energy it released when exploded were actually the souls of these long-gone warriors, which now will be resurrected. SHUNEI and the heroes were unsure of what exactly happened, but soon enough, reports of some previously deceased warriors reappearing started making the rounds. Immediately, Hydron and his squad started locating who these warriors were. Kukri, on the other hand, hoped that one of the resurrected fighters is his master Dolores. It turned out Kukri studied Ender and was adopted by Dolores when he was a young child. When his sand powers manifested for the first time, he lost control and almost was buried under them. Dolores then sacrificed her own life, saving Kukri from under the sand. Ever since, Kukri lost his innocence and lived a bitter life, blaming himself for the death of his adoptive mother. When noticing the space-time anomalies and realizing the Verse prophecy is taking shape, he hoped that Verse will also have the soul of his master Dolores. After Verse's explosion, Kukri followed the whereabouts of one of these fleeting souls, hoping it would be Dolores's. However, upon arrival to the resurrection site, he did not find his master, but an unexpected fighter, Ash Crimson. Realizing who the unconscious kid is, Kukri decided to contact Elizabeth Blanktorch, who since Ash erasing himself from existence have felt that something is missing and was looking for the answer. Ash Crimson was not the only resurrected warrior that was identified. Both Kyo and Iori received a message from Chizuru Kagura,
informing them
that Orochi has also been resurrected. The three fighters met in Europe, where they found the spirit of a resurrected Orochi struggling to stay in a physical form, as it does not have a proper body to truly resurrect. Determined to stop a second coming of Orochi, the three sacred treasures once again used their combined powers to successfully seal Orochi. The experience of his very first King of Fighters gave the young Shunei the confidence in dealing and hopefully one day
controlling his own powers.
Seeing fighters like Leona or Iori who dealt with their own demons made Shunei feel that he is not alone in his struggles. While he did not win the tournament and he did not fully understand the origin of his powers, both he, Meitenkun, and Tang Furu realized that whatever verse was is only the beginning of what is to come. Following the fight with Verse, Shunei's nightmares grew out of control. An eerie voice would often call him in his dreams, ordering him to destroy the world. Not long after, Tang Furu would receive an invitation to a new tournament, now sponsored by the mysterious Anastasia, as Antonov's been fired from his company and had fled to form his own wrestling organization, GWA. Tang Furu then surprised his students by revealing that he is not participating and that he asked Kyo Kusanagi to join Shunei and Meitenkun and form a new team. The Hakyuku Seiken master then ordered his students to head to Japan and get ready for this next tournament. After arriving to Japan, Shunei and Meitenkun were greeted by Benimaru Nikaido, who revealed to them that he will be their teammate as Kyo is busy investigating something ominous along with Chizuru Kagura and Iori Yagami. Following the Verse incident a few months ago, many previously dead fighters have returned. Among the resurrected warriors was the hermit Dolores, Kukri's adoptive mother. But instead of finding Kukri, Dolores' first task after she was brought back was to find Hydern. Dolores understood that the fact that she is now alive is a sign that the prophecies she was taught are all coming true. Dolores explained to Hydern the urgency of the matter at hand and asked him to help her find a special girl, one that has control over her amplified specter. Seeing that a King of Fighters tournament has been announced, Hydern asked Dolores to join him for this event, as they both expected that the tournament coupled with Shunei's participation will probably trigger the return of the entity seen in the last tournament. Both Hydern and Dolores head to South America, specifically to an orphanage in Chile, where a young girl, Isla, has shown her mastery of an amplified spectre. Since a young age, Isla has lived in the orphanage and grew up to distrust and hate adults who pretend to know her well-being better than her. Over time, Isla has built a special relationship with the amplified spectre, and unlike Shunei, she seems to have a mutual understanding with this entity whom she calls Amanda. When asked by Hydern and Dolores to join their team for the next King of Fighters, Isla quickly agreed after learning that Shunei is participating as well. During the events of the King of Fighters 14, Isla watched Shunei on TV and felt hatred towards him, he who has similar powers to her and seemed to have embraced his surrounding world and has friends around him helping him overcome his hardships. Isla, along with Hydern and Dolores, formed the rival team. In the other corner of the world, Ash, now alive again, was asked by Elizabeth to join her for the tournament. The reasons for entering the event is to force Ash to fix what he started due to his sacrifice. She knew Verse was just the beginning of the anomalies and felt that the tournament will be the place for more to be revealed. Ash and Betty are joined by Kukri, who at the time did not know Dolores has been revived, though he quickly learned the truth when a special broadcast was announcing the new teams for the King of Fighters 15. Furious at his former master, Kukri is looking forward to the new event in order to confront his adoptive mother. Besides Ash and Dolores, many other fighters were brought back to life. These include 4 members of the Hakeshu: Yashiro, Chris, and Shermie. The 3 warriors that perished during the events of the King of Fighters 97 when resurrecting Orochi, as well as their leader Genitz. Genitz was previously defeated at the end of the King of Fighters 96 and took his own life. While initially not understanding how they were revived, the Orochi team along with Genitz are hell-bent on using this opportunity to revive Orochi. Yashiro, Chris, and Shermie also entered the tournament. More teams from around the world have officially joined the event. Some include traditional formations like the Fatal Fury team with Terry, Andy, and Joe, and others banding together for the first time, like the Superheroine team of Athena, Yuri, and Mai. This new tournament also happens to be the first one since the King of Fighters 97 where single entries were permitted. Many fighters received single invitations to join the event, like Shingo Yabuki, Kim Kapwan, Duolon, Hinako, and the mysterious Najd. Najd is a Saudi crime fighter who uses her special abaya, that is originally a jinn, to fight evil. Her unknown master ordered her to investigate the space-time anomalies and to find the resurrected Dolores. Right before the start of the King of Fighters 15, as the teams are getting ready to enter the tournament venue, SHUNEI, along with Mei Tenkun, were stopped by Isla, who verbally attacked SHUNEI and called him a loser for relying on adults to guide him. SHUNEI was surprised to see Isla having the same powers, but was more puzzled about the animosity this young girl had against him.
おい、ちょっと待てよ。
しゅんちゃん。
The King of Fighters 15 tournament has begun, as the world watches in anticipation the high level of all the teams as they battle for the title of Grand Champions. Many individuals were waiting to seize the right opportunity presented by this global event in order to push their own agendas. During the tournament, Dolores, while inspecting the venue, confirmed to Hydern that the tournament is the perfect channel for heated clash of fiery wills that should provide enough energy for Verse to rematerialize once again. Dolores then explained that through the teachings passed down from ancient times, the being is actually called Reverse. She then went on to explain that the being was never meant to visit this world, but Ash Crimson's incident caused a distortion in the space-time between worlds, allowing the creature to appear. Dolores made it clear that she believed those with the powers of amplified specters, like SHUNEI and Isla, if they work together, can seal the entity, something Isla did not appreciate and promised to defeat SHUNEI, then destroy Reverse herself. But Dolores explained that Reverse cannot be destroyed, and the only way is to return the being to its home world. Following more exciting matches, the hero team of SHUNEI, Mei Tenkun, and Benimaru reached the finals against the rival team. The match that Isla was looking forward to was finally at hand. SHUNEI and Isla battled, and so did their amplified spectrum. In the end, it was Team Hero that won the King of Fighters 15 tournament. But right before the celebration, Isla seemed to be unable to control her powers. It seems that something unseen is interfering with Amanda, and in a matter of seconds, our heroes found themselves in a similar but different location, where no other human is present, as if they were sucked to a parallel dimension. Isla, overwhelmed by her powers, lost consciousness and went deep into her past memories. SHUNEI also felt the place's incredible power interfering with his, but with the support of his teammates, was able to not lose control.
だから、しゅんちゃんなら大丈夫。
Dolores then explained to the heroes that both Isla and SHUNEI are amplified specters and bearer of powers that resonate with Reverse. Both the fighters act as mediums to amplify emotions that are used by the entity. Because Isla excelled at absorbing people's intense emotions and amplifying them, her spirit and that of Amanda intertwined with Verse's. allowing the entity to materialize once again, bringing the heroes into a parallel dimension. Defeat in reverse is the only way to free Isla. Shunei and the other heroes would then take on the mysterious reverse.
イメージ通りに動けよ
After an intense battle, Reverse was defeated and Isla regained consciousness once again.
ここは何これ
イスラ気づいたのか
But before the heroes could celebrate, Dolores felt the coming of the mother goddess of truth and restoration, Otoma Raga, the same entity that was worshipped by Dolores' ancestors for centuries. Feeling the immense power of Otoma Raga, Dolores shocked the heroes by revealing that the only way of sealing Otoma Raga within her original resting place out of this world is the co-annihilation between Otoma Raga and an amplified specter, which means either Shunei or Isla will need to sacrifice their lives in order to save the world. Refusing to believe the legend, Shunei, Isla, and the rest of the fighters took on the powerful entity. An intense and scary battle took place. The power of the amplified specters combined with the sheer will and strength of the fighters was enough to defeat Otoma Raga. Her defeat opened the doorway to a void, known as the complete nothingness. Anything that goes through the void is nullified, including time and space. But before the entity disappeared into the place of no return, Otoma Raga grabbed Isla and tried taking her to the other dimension with her. In an instant, Shunei jumped for Isla's rescue, and while initially unable to hold on to Isla, both their specters reached to each other and pulled Isla out of the vortex that took Otoma Raga back to her resting place. With Otoma Raga defeated, the heroes were transported back to their original dimension. It seems the world is saved, but this encounter may have brought more questions than answers. Shunei, on the other hand, was finally able to control his powers, and for the first time in years, was able to remove the headphones that were used to help him control the specter. The whole event made Isla realize that Shunei is not her enemy, and she saw the error in her ways of thinking, and how in reality she was jealous of Shunei, who had friends and people protecting him, unlike her, who with the exception of Amanda, grew up alone with no love or compassion from the outside world. Following the events of the King of Fighters 15, the hero team went back to China, where Master Tang Furu, after congratulating the team for their achievement, decided to reveal the truth about Shunei's parents and how they are still alive. Shunei, who wants to see his parents, decided to first travel with Mei Tenkun alone to face the world, a decision welcomed by Tang Furu. As for Isla, Haydn proposed that she join his Ikari unit, but the graffiti fighter decided against the idea and wanted to go and see Shunei one more time before returning home. Her teammate Dolores has finally been reunited with Kukri, who blamed her for everything before the two reconciled and decided to go back to their hometown. The Ikari warriors continued to locate the resurrected warriors, and it seems that Gaidel, Leona's father, could be one of these revived fighters. Leona, Ralph, and Clark decided to go and locate a man that seems to match Gaidel's description. The Sacred Treasure team made of Kyo, Shizuru, and Iori were finally able to confirm that the seal of Orochi is now safe. After Otoma's defeat, energy that interfered with the seal is no longer felt by Kagura. Now Kyo and Iori can finally have the last battle they have been longing for. But whether the seal of Orochi is truly safe remains to be seen. Resurrected Hakeshu, Yashiro, Chris, and Shermie, along with their leader Genetz, are still hellbent on reviving the deity, and they feel that now is the perfect time to do so. Several hours after the defeat of Reverse and Otomaraga, all the gravity anomalies have stabilized one after the other. Sitting in his desk, Hyder decided to think of the shocking truth he learned from Dolores. It seems that Reverse appears at the end of the world to collect the souls of warriors for a greater deity, Otomaraga. The powerful emotions in souls are converted to pure energy to open a gate to another dimension, for Otomaraga to enter and erase that world before restoring it to a new one. But it seems the reason why Reverse and Otomaraga were awakened in the first place is something no one expected. It seemed that this world is part of a multiverse, where worlds diverged on the crossroads of choice. The retro casualty that took place when Ash erased himself and thus causing the past of his ancestor's psyche to disappear was a branching point for another universe. Whether the threat of Otomaraga and deities such as her are no longer present remains to be seen, and whether this was the end or maybe just the beginning of dealing with a multiverse full of possibilities is a question that we do not know the answer yet. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, check the history of the King of Fighters, the history of Fatal Fury, as well as other SNK lore and documentaries on NeogeoNow. Big shout out to my channel's patrons for helping making this possible. You can become a patron through Patreon or a premium subscriber here on YouTube by clicking on the join button below this video. Patrons and paid members get early access, exclusive goodies, and more. Link is in the description below.